last one, and it's not about dogs.
What is Nouns? Nouns is an emo/punk band from Conway, Arkansas, consisting of Hunter Cliffman, vocal/guitarist, Kyle Parker, guitarist, Ethan Gill, the bassist, and Austin Clark, the drummer. And they're known for dogs, but that's not all they're really known for. They also made another album, but this time it's sadder and more depressing. I'm of course talking about Still album 2014. Nouns is honestly and most definitely one of my favorite bands ever, and has a very special place in my heart. Back in high school when I was depressed and listening to Core, this band really helped me through those dark moments in my life. Enough wasting time, without further ado, welcome to the Nouns Iceberg. Level 1. Dogs. Dogs is a song produced by Nouns the band. Dogs was in the album called Still Bummed. It's literally the first track you hear once you play the album. At first, I thought this song literally just means liking a certain animal, better than any animal or people, for that matter. But as it turns out, it's about struggling with drug addiction. Even back then, listening to this and looking through Genius, I already knew something was up, but just ignored it because I like interpreting the song better in my head. Want it bad enough, then things will get better, but that's not the truth and you know better. So you're trying hard enough but nothing gets better, but you won't quit trying cause you know better. The singer here is clearly talking to himself and trying to support himself, not believing in such delusion. That delusion that things will get better just because you want them to. The phrase, you know better, is also repeated. A popular technique to support a statement is repetition. Here the singer is really trying to convince themselves that they know better, despite the mental and physical complications that come along with drug addiction. The singer is trying hard to convince themselves to be better and try harder. Nothing comes easy and nothing comes free, but it just seems like I can't get out of this heap of shit I must have stumbled into by accident, disorder in script I must have stumbled into it. I think this talks about how nothing in life is easy, so this is probably talking about how drugs aren't easy to get, especially when you illegally sell and abuse substances, which hints at the saying nothing comes free. Or it could also be interpreted as a common adage, and therapy costs a lot of money, hinting that since he's in the US, medication and hospital stays are hard to get. Nothing comes easy and nothing comes free. Swallow me whole. These lines relate to hopelessness and the feeling of giving up. It's clear that this is the part where the singer is at their lowest point, feeling entirely demotivated. They just want to be consumed by their drug addiction because it's easier than fighting back, and it hurts less than the withdrawal. The shift in tone when these lines are sung support this. It's softer and weaker. It's the voice of somebody who's completely given up. Can I just get my body back? Whoa. This is how it feels to go through addiction or withdrawal. On one hand, you want to quit, but on the other hand, your body is chasing a craving you have for something. It can feel as though if two people are controlling you. Can I just get my body back? The fact that he is asking to get his body back suggests that he does not have control of his own self because of his addiction, and is begging for his body to listen to his mind. To be honest, I've always thought of this as how much the singer just wants to be a kid again, and just wants to be happy for being a kid, just reliving their past childhood memories. I like dogs much better, true to be honest. I'm actually just gonna read what this individual has to say, because they write it way better than I could write for this. These lines are switched in tone from the ones before, the tone switching from the speaker talking to himself about how things are going to get better from his addiction, feeling hopeless and then pleading for his bodily autonomy back. This song, hence the name, conveys that the speaker likes dogs, and they like them more than any other animal. But this seems to be a metaphor for resenting addiction. This could also be the reason for the album cover, which is a Siberian Husky. The speaker clearly loves dogs over everything, cats, wolves, rats, and bats as their examples, but especially humans. All of their examples are much more complicated animals than dogs. and these are metaphor for recovering from drug use. The speaker wants to recover, but they don't want to put in the effort to. They would rather stick to dogs, life without addiction, than cats or wolves, whatever he's addicted to. They like dogs more than they could ever love people. Pretty healthy way of thinking. I like dogs much better than cats and wolves and rats and bats that I use when I get imaginative. This is probably talking about a certain drug he likes much better than cats and wolves and rats and bats. Could be a metaphor for a different kind of drug that he uses when he gets imaginative, meaning when he gets high or stoned. Or you could look at it completely differently, which the singer states that he likes dogs, a common, rather simple animal, more than any other animal because they're less complex. Cats, wolves, rats, and bats. He uses when he gets creative in his writing. This could also be taken as simply as a statement of laziness. He likes going back to his comfort zone and writing about dogs that are easy to understand, rather than waxing metaphorical about cats and wolves or in relation with the themes of this song has. The singer finds it easier to return to drug usage, dogs, than to take the more difficult option to stop using and recover, cats and wolves and rats and etc. Arkansas.
Arkansas. Arkansas.
This is a state in the United States where nouns were and most likely originated, as it says in the intro. I'm not at all American, by the way. Heck, dude, I'm not even from the US, so I can't really say anything about the state. Still Bummed cover. I'm really hoping this means the album cover of Still Bummed, and not a Still Bummed cover song. The album cover you're seeing in Still Bummed is a Siberian husky behind a Christmas tree. From what I've researched, there isn't supposed to be a source for where this photo originally came from. Alright, level 2. Still is probably one of the darkest and saddest tracks Nouns has ever produced, in my opinion. From 14 to I Still Want to Make You Proud. So, what's it about? Another emo breakup album? I have to be honest with you, I've been trying to figure out how to describe this album, but it's just so good that I can't really put it into words. Another masterpiece of art, to be honest. Let's just say it leans more into mental health rather than another album about a girl. Okay, I'm gonna try to summarize all of this without it being too long. I failed to do that because I did not plan this to be this long. 14. This song starts off with a beautiful melodic chord progression, and only then you can hear the vocals saying, I was raped at 14, and I'm not using this as another tragedy to make my art more appealing, or to make you pity me and bring you closer to understanding me, but instead as an encouragement for those who have faced any sort of trauma, no matter how small. Don't be afraid to open it into discussion. 14 doesn't really have any rhythmic vocals. It's more of a poetry song, or free verse as one would say. It's pretty obvious what this song talks about, and I encourage you guys to listen to the whole thing. It's only 4 minutes and 24 seconds. I Feel As Though I Failed is a song about how Hunter, band member, talks about dropping out of college because the pressure was too much, and he's saying he's another fuck up in the family, and how the guilt at first killed him. I did not mean to write all of that in backwards, by the way. It just came. I'm scared of what's ahead, but I'd rather be afraid than continue to be dead. I think this is him saying that, yeah, he's quit college and he's scared a lot about what's gonna happen next. I mean, who could blame him really? I would be as well, since I'm probably gonna be the first Asian kid in my family who's disappointed their parents. But even then, he would rather face those challenges and those fears rather than kill himself through student loans. Soccer Ball. Okay, God, I'm so sorry. I love this album so much. Okay, I'll try to describe it like this. An angry, nostalgic stoned teenager with unhealthy parents. Gosh, that really does suck. Fox Wound. I wholeheartedly believe that this is a song about being trans, but you could still interpret or fact check me on this one. Closer. Took my father's rifle and shot up my school. He said he never saw it coming, but everyone knew. And now all those kids are dead, and I'm no longer here. That's pretty much all you need to know. Wreck. A song about being a mess, being 19, and scared about ending up alone. The singer is upset because everyone loves them so much, which is the only reason they haven't committed suicide.
degenerate.
Ghost legs. Little ghost legs refers to the ghosts of youth or their past childhood, being young and innocent. The line that goes from the ceiling, my legs fall down. It could also be related to dissociative trauma, as I've heard and read. According to the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, children experiencing extreme traumatic stress may perceive themselves as detached from their bodies, on the ceiling or somewhere else in the room, watching what is happening to their bodies. But I'm not gonna research too deep on this one for now. Little ghost legs, run on home. I could interpret this as it's time to go home, young one. Your time here has passed. God, I hope that didn't sound as cringeworthy. Little slugger. There's lore for this, by the way, which I can't wait to talk about when we get to funeral sounds interview. Okay, let me try to explain. Olivia is the polar opposites of Jackson and JD. The immature and suicidal people Hunter write in the songs. Olivia is very different from both of them. Olivia is very kind and motivating, a positive person who just wants to help the world, one person at a time. She explains in the song that being the same as last year means you did nothing to grow, try to do something to better yourself as much as possible, is one of her points. Olivia says in this that no matter the hardships, trauma, and mental illness, the pain was worth it in the end. There is a silver lining throughout all of this noise.
And then there's Olivia, which is, I would go through these phases where I was obsessed with self-help books and obsessed with just totally devoted to this positive lifestyle, and it would never last. And I considered Olivia to be the golden goddess inside of me that was positivity, and I tried my best to be her.
Ski Mask. Dude, if there's any punk song that I've truly resonated with, it would be Ski Mask. You won't understand. At best, I'm optimistic. I love that line so much. It relates to me so much, and maybe for others as well, that if I am at my best, instead of people pushing me down at my worst, everything could actually turn well for us. I don't hate this world one bit. I just hate being in it. Totally agreeable. I know I'm just sort of reviewing it now, instead of explaining it, but that line just speaks for itself for the song. Daydream. This next part of the track is about how this person, Oliver, was daydreaming about killing everyone in his school, and maybe even almost actually doing it.
And then there was Oliver, and Oliver pretty much, senior year of high school, I had a lot of thoughts, I had a lot of obsessions. And one of my friends who consistently got picked on his whole fucking life, I sat him down, we just fucking around, things kind of got quiet, and I asked him, like, do you ever think about hurting anyone at the school? Like, he's like, what do you mean? And it's like, school shooting or something like that. And he said, yeah, all the time. It's like our last day of school, and I was like, I'm really glad he didn't. I'm really glad to be a friend. And I told him I felt the same way, like all throughout high school. I was obsessed with the idea, just I wasn't on medication. No one had, my parents weren't really that educated about psychoactive drugs, and Oliver is this childlike persona that was just obsessed.
Said I was their friend, and for once I felt like living. I still want to make you proud. Okay, we're finally at this part. Peak music composing. I believe this is a song about a mother having a miscarriage before the person singing this was born, and him feeling that her mother will never be able to feel love or affection for him after what happened to her unborn child. I wonder about my sibling, if I heaven has a place for her. But I can't stay here. From what I've seen and read, this is Hunter's suicide note. Reading, Hunter's mom found his body, having hope he's still alive, and she calls for help. Frothing mouth can refer to overdose. When someone overdoses on opioids, they will start foaming at the mouth. It was difficult not to die. This is a clashing statement to Wreck, where the speaker, who I assume is Jackson, Hunter's alter ego, is angry at everyone he loves for supporting him and not wanting to kill himself because it would hurt them, and he hates him for it. I'll explain this more later in a bit once we get to level 3. While of Unsound Mind is Nouns' other LP album, I could describe this album as more experimental metal because of how they have more loud screaming and loud synthesizers in the background, as they should. But as they would describe it, While of Unsound Mind is the 13-track third studio album released by the band Nouns after 7 years of inactivity. It takes a very different approach to their older music, being a lot more experimental than their sophomore Still and debut album Still Bummed, as well as being their first ever album to have another artist featured on a song. Okay, I'm not gonna be explaining the whole track album because I think that's gonna take way too long again. Names of the band members. I've already said this in the intro, but let's see. We have Hunter Cliffman, one of the lead guitarists / vocalists, Carl Parker, another guitarist, Keaton Jill, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry, which is the bassist, and Austin Clark, the drummer. Alright, on to level 3. This is pretty much Hunter's channel, if that wasn't obvious enough from the name. His profile picture is Mayuse, that anime guy from Full Metal Alchemist, and he posts a lot of random video games like Tekken, Halo, and teasers of when his next album is coming out. Also old EPs, demos, vlogs, etc. You should just go check it out, as they're probably the only non-brain rot content creators left on YouTube. Also, they released their first ever music video 3 years ago. Jesus Christ, that felt like it was posted 2 months ago. Funeral Sounds interview. This is most likely talking about the video Windows XP re-uploaded on their channel 3 years ago, and was also re-uploaded on the Hollow project on our Kansas Music Archive. The video is an interview with the lead guitarist / vocalist, Hunter, and he talks about how the album Still came to be. The interviewer asks Hunter who the people in the lyrics are, that have signed names like the ones you see in Bandcamp page signing JD, Jackson, Olivia, Oliver, and all that. Hunter replies that the words on the record were honest and truthful. He speaks more about himself, how he eventually obtained the proper dosage for SSRI, and is taking anxiety meds to help him. He talks about Jackson, his alter ego, whom he made and how this is his angry, suicidal, and immature side. And then he talks about JD, or Jackson David, as his mother initially wanted to name him that. JD is the grown-up version of Jackson, as he's more mature, less cynical, but doesn't want to be alive anymore. There's Olivia, who I presume to be Hunter's more positive and optimistic side, as he explained in the video how, at the time, he was very obsessed with self-help books and how he was devoted to this positive lifestyle. And then there was Oliver. As what I've gathered, Oliver is probably one of his darkest characters / alter egos. Remember Daydream? The one I talked about earlier? From what I could piece together, Oliver is someone who genuinely wants to hurt people because he was unappreciated or not taken seriously. Hunter told about this story and how he talked with someone back in senior high school and asked his friend if he ever thought about, hurting people, like school shooting, and he said yeah all the time. Hunter responds by saying that he feels the same way. From what I could gather and piece together this information, Hunter created had these alter egos and made them as some sort of like character or inspiration to Still album. Still is essentially an autobiography on Hunter's life, with his alter egos being the inspiration. Demos. There are numerous demos that Hunter specifically created himself, such as Unfinished Demos and Demos 2007 to 2013. I'll try to explain both of them as briefly as possible using the information I got. Unfinished Demos, Soul New Surf Song, Unfinished Demo 2015. The description reads, cleaning out my old computer. Kyle and I wanted to make a weird collage of the things we liked about surf music, so we started experimenting with different segments. I never figured out, yeah, I said that twice. I think he was trying to say, I never figured out how to make the transitions work. Our friend Maddie came to Memphis for a few days and lent us his wonderful vocals. The rest of the vocals and most of the instrumentation weren't recorded. March 12th right. Unfinished demo 2015. The description reads, Kyle did some bass runs. We yelled about stuff and I never got around to putting the right pan guitar. Here you go. Track 1. Unfinished demo 2015. The description reads, couldn't ever figure out how to make all the pieces of the first track work out, but hey, here you go. Another unfinished song. Damaged goods is damage, but the damage wears off. Were, Garat. Unfinished demo 2015. Description. My friend Andy and I started a band called Were in like 2014. We began work on an album called Baphomet, and this is a song we never got around to finishing up. We recorded it in our shed. Vermeter, Untitled Unfinished Demo 2018. Description. This one is a weird one for me. I didn't really have the lyrics to put over the music, so I just left it as it is. I do remember this particular song taking months to get right, and I never felt happy with the outcome. So it's going in the pile of unfinished demos. Woo! I was living in this haunted house, playing a lot of Smash and rewatching Eureka 7 when I was working on this one. There were like a billion tracks on the logic file for this one too. Took up too much space. Sonu, Banjo Song, Unfinished Demo 2013. Description reads, this actually one that was going to be on Stillbone, but I never finished it, and also it felt as if the tone was a little off for the rest of the file batch. Anywho, it's super weird to listen to it now. Sonu, Sonatine, Unfinished Demo 2015. Description reads, never finished the guitar for most of this, or the vocals for the most part. There's a part before the end of the song that I'm not a fan of, but hey, it's there. There's a silent portion in the middle of the song where I couldn't figure out how to transition between the halves, but thought one day I'd figure it out. The lyrics were all based on the film Sonatine. Had a lot of fun messing with the delay pedals during the recording of this one. Wormeter, Orobas Unfinished Demo 2016/17. Description reads, I've been producing logic files with the name Wormeter on them for about 7 years now, and I just found this one. Recorded this while I was going to college, I guess. Song for Trey 2016. Description. Wrote this song for my best friend / cousin, Trey, my wonderful cousin. Trey, my cousin, Trey. Peace touching. I had this on repeat for like an hour. Nouns demos, 2007 to 2013. These are various demos, as the title suggests, of Hunter's old songs that he made in 2007 to 2013. You can find and listen to these either through YouTube or Spotify. This is more of a collection of demos rather than an album, so yeah. None of the tracks don't really have an official lyrics to go off, but this individual again did try to make out the words audible, so they tried to form the lyrics from what they were hearing from. But as they said, no matter how many times I listen to these, I cannot make out a word from some of them. Trying to decipher these with nothing to go off is difficult. You can check out the demos on Genius, by the way. To my knowledge, what do we really know about science and vomit have been entirely found. Off to level 4. From what I could gather, this is a recovery speech from Olivia, or Hunter, describing their trauma as CSA. Olivia is something Hunter always wanted to be, filled with positivity, optimism, and kindness. He explains that this was shared to make people more powerful or stronger, and wanna be seen not as a victim, but as a victor. This is shown to people so that you can come out better and stronger, even if you've been through so much pain. Kitaki Show. I think this is talking about how Nouns' third live performance last show, as seen in this video, and not to mention Hunter stating this in the comments. The people who were here were so lucky, dude. There's probably more recorded videos on YouTube like this one, but I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what this means, but I think it means the venue. If you search up Nouns Stillbone Vindy, which I'm hoping is the right website, you can buy them with a huge amount of money. Good lord, that's like, what, 20,000 pesos here at my country's currency? No idea what still VHS means, but if anyone does, let me know. While of Unsound Mind cover origin. The album cover used in While of Unsound Mind is actually Hunter's grandparents on their wedding day, as he mentions on his Bandcamp. Level 5. My Life Through Cold Sweats. My Life Through Cold Sweats is from a split/EP album collaboration between Nouns and I Was Afraid, released in 2013. This EP contains 4 tracks, some of which are previously released Nouns songs like, Still Bummed. This song talks about how a guy expresses how he doesn't like being with their partner at all, and is only with them because of the act of impulse. I know you, and I felt awful about it. I didn't even tell you that I can't stand sex. When you hold me, I just want to breathe, and when you kiss me, I feel like... God, I love that line. Clearly, this person doesn't think that sex is everything, and the only affection they really need is for someone to hold them, for him to just be able to breathe. Love this track. He does still want to be with their partner, but just as friends. On a side note, this could also refer that the individual is in the asexual/aromantic spectrum.
What we need around here is positive people.
This is a line that plays before I feel as though I failed, and is a voice sample from the movie Lord of the Fireflies. The kid you hear from the start of the song saying all we need around here is positive people is referred to as Piggy. They take it upon themselves to brutalize an overweight, much weaker boy nicknamed Piggy in the movie. Haven't seen Lord of the Fireflies yet, or even read the novel, but after researching more into it, I'll probably give it a try. Still Bummed is satire. Still Bummed was released on Bandcamp on March 1st of the same year. The album was completed an hour before being put out onto the internet. Comprised of songs recorded by Hunter Clifton, who was 17 when half of the tracks were made, produced the entire record in his bedroom. Within an hour of uploading the records, the project's name was chosen in honor of the LP announced by No 8. So what's the satire of Still Bummed? I will first give the definition of what satire is. It's basically the use of comedy, irony, exaggeration, or to ridicule, to expose and criticize people's foolishness or vices, especially in the context of current politics and other pressing concerns. But is Still Bummed actually satire? Probably not in a traditional sense. Satire, as I said before, aims to mock or critique a belief, system, or behavior, which Still Bummed doesn't really target anything in that way as I look at it. Although the way I would describe it is called existential catharsis, approach of emotional and spiritual confusion in a world that doesn't make sense. Dogs are highly about addiction to drugs and how they fall into a deep depression and can't stop. Also about how the singer probably likes dogs. Still Bummed is a breakup song about how the person singing still hasn't really moved on, saying things like, "You were the first and last of your kind, but you ran away." Meaning this person is very much different from everyone he's ever been with, and he's scared that this is probably true. He might not find anyone like this person ever again, and he was left for not being able to handle his and their mental health, with the last line singing, "'Cause you're a nervous wreck, and I am second best." From what I could gather, School Bus is a song related to the Laura Booker case, where this mother stormed into a school bus and thereby trespassed to scream at a bunch of kids who were bullying her daughter. This is a song about the perspective of the child who got bullied, repeatedly saying it was in the school bus, is referring to where they got bullied, in a very traumatic tone. At the end of the chorus, the singer is sentimental and saddened by how they're getting older, never being able to relive the experience again or the same as now. They have changed as a person, both mentally and physically. Conch is something that I would definitely try to play with my band someday. This is a song about which I believe to be another sad song about our relationship with the speaker's mother, therapist, school, and his girlfriend. From he's losing sleep and being unable to do simple everyday tasks and his mother is noticing it, to the kids at his religious school outcasting him because what he believed and did not believe in, saying shrink as a slang for a therapist, therefore he is referring to her as it's just nervousness during a session. From him not being able to pay attention to his girlfriend and only focusing on meaningless things, which I believe eventually ended up with them breaking up. In this case, I will be talking about Wei and Ya because they're pretty much similar and spelled backwards. As described here, one is an angry response, Wei, while the other, Ya, is leaning more towards sadness. The vocals playing in the background saying something about God and heaven are from the YouTube video called Student Exit Statement, where students of Heaven's Gate express their thoughts before exit.
For the real facts, the real truth, that's how to get out of this world and grow beyond it, rise above it, leave it behind.
If you don't know what Heaven's Gate is, it's mostly famous for the 1997 mass suicide where one of the leaders, Marshall Applewhite, committed suicide, taking along 39 active members of the group. One of the comment interpreted this saying that this could tie into Heaven's Gate speech by Custody, or however you pronounce that, the artist feeling as though they almost wished that they could see things the members did, and just take the solace in the idea that you could just leave your body and go to paradise, leaving all the trauma of being a human vessel behind, and the lyrics goes, weight of sweat and dead skin. It's a very dark interpretation. Almost forgot about Dumped. Even though this song is short, I can't stop replaying it, bro. The song is about, of course, being dumped, as the title says, with the line going, I feel so stupid now. Calling oneself stupid is usually common, especially after being naive and believing their partners love them. So depressed, I don't know why. You know why, bro. The main lead is venting on how much depressed they've gotten, and suddenly not knowing entirely why. People usually have an excuse for being sad, as in, I don't know why I am, and the line conveys the feeling that they do know why, but they just haven't experienced this type of sadness before. I need more friends. I think we can all feel and relate to this, because after a breakup, what's the first thing you do? Get drunk with your friends and play video games, duh. After a breakup, you really do need someone to talk to get some sort of comfort or solace through this mess. You're not the one I want. Just one verse, and they make this song bop. We're so sad, I'm so sorry. You're not the one I want, no. This is the only spoken section of the song, and afterwards, it's just the instrumentals / synthesizers. This is a very hurtful and sad song about reversing the emo trope of someone not liking them back, to the singer / user not liking them back instead. The Graduate. The start of the verse goes back to School Bus, from the third song in the album, sharing the same intro. The second verse could be referencing bulimia, an eating disorder characterized by regular, often secretive bouts of overeating. He uses music as an escape, as all of us do, from his desires to commit suicide or hurt himself, yet still wonders where he's going in life, even though that's what he wants to stop thinking about, and that they still are in fact still bummed.
Say that again?
The great big fuck and how I'm coping with it. The speaker sings about his father not living very well, how he's overworked, how he spends most of his time watching TV, and he swears to himself he's never gonna live the way his dad does. Swallow Me Whole is also repeated again, from the first track you hear from the album. The ending, or pre-chorus of the track, where we hear a man shouting, is from the 1976 movie Network. The samples are from a scene where a news broadcaster is ranting on air about how bleak the world is, and why people are too lazy to get up and do something about it. Off to Level 6. This is an EP composed by Hunter and his friend Claire during the year 2008. I couldn't find lyrics for this one, but I do want to compliment how much fun they probably had making this. See Around is my favorite track. It just sounds so silly and fun. You should go check this out. I will be leaving all the links in the description. Still Bummed is demos. I believe this is talking about how the Split album and the first track Still Bummed being played is the demo for the second track We Know and Love from Still Bummed album, Trey. If you go back to unfinished demos, you could see a song titled Song for Cousin Trey 2016. This again, as said in the description of the video, is a song made for Trey, one of Hunter's cousins / best friends. Wish they were lyrics though. 1955 Lions. As stated on Hunter's YouTube channel and the description of 1955 Lions, this was his first ever collaborative project with someone else. The description reads, DJ and I met in 2008 and we've been best friends and working with another ever since, whether here in my den or over there in his bedroom. People outside of our friend group were not always receptive to the kind of music we played, and we never really felt that we fit in here. But despite that, those early shows he and DJ spent working on will forever be his happiest memories. Honestly, from anyone who's so interested in Nouns and still wanna stay interested in Nouns, you should probably go and listen to this collaborative LP. I could say it is very different from Nouns, but if you're into a lot of chill wave, lo-fi, emo-ish genre, you should go check this out on Bandcamp, and you can also download this LP for free by the way, which I find pretty cool, because I'm already addicted to listening to this. Level 7. Okay guys, we're at the last level. LP4, also known as Nouns' fourth album. According to this Reddit user, this hints at Hunter's Patreon. Now, I don't actually know if this is true. The Reddit user says it's a conspiracy. And as far as I know, I think this, Blue of the Sea, is gonna be the next title of their next album. I do wish that I could join this Patreon, but I don't really use PayPal. But maybe someday. Hemiolas and polymeters, and the relationship we have with technology. Yeah, no, I don't know what this one means. I'm not sure if this is a bit, or I'm just dumb. I'm probably just dumb. But I can let my friend Creeksayer explain what hemiolas and polymeters are, since he knows more about music theory than I do.
Now, a hemiola works in the same vein as a polymeter. So, let's do some math. This is a 3/4 melody. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can count it that way. And this all equals to 12 beats, because in one bar, there are 3 notes. And 3 times 4 is equals to 12. So the point of hemiolas is, instead of it being 4 sets of 3 beats, it can also be 6 sets of 2 beats, because 2 times 6 is equals to 12. So instead of making it in threes, we make it in pairs. So we do that by writing it as such in pairs. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if we write it this way, we can actually influence this melody above, along with the supporting drums, to form this effect. So we are essentially bringing more emphasis towards the other numbers, starting from 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And that's what a hemiola is. Defining a polymeter, it's actually 2 different time signatures in the same piece of music, so in the same measurements. So they're following the same pulse, unlike a polyrhythm, which is meant to produce different numbers of beats within around the same measure. So what a polymeter is it's meant to have 2 different time signatures in the same beat. So we have 2 elements here. These are the drums. This is the basic, straightforward melody. 4 notes in a bar. So we can count that in 1, 2, 3, 4. However, this is 3/4, the drums. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So when these 2 come together, that's what we call a polymeter. So it creates that kind of awkward tension.
Hip-hop songs. I do remember a comment where Hunter said he was trying to get back old demo/tracks that were hip-hop songs. And to be honest, I've been trying to find them for like almost an hour, but nothing showed up. I swear I'm not like tripping, bro. Hunter, if you managed to see this video or document, please confirm. Well, I guess that's it. This took at least like 4 to 5 days to make, at least a document. I occasionally take breaks, but I'm happy that it's finally done. I don't know how to do an outro, to be honest, at least like voice over an outro. But I would like to thank my friend Creeksa for helping with the edit and being in the video, explaining hemiolas and polymeters. I could have not done this without you guys. I'm sorry if I'm stuttering a lot, but I would also like to thank Nouns for being such an awesome band and group of artists that strives to make more music like that. And yeah, I guess that's all it. Thank you for anyone who's reading this or watching this. It means a lot, and I hope all of you have a nice day or night. Please be kind to one another. Please be respectful in the comments. And yeah, thanks guys.